I'd like to start this video with a short story, if you have a minute. Now, once upon a time there was a little boy called Jimmy, and Jimmy was on a flight from London to New York with his family. It's quite a long flight, so the cabin crew organized a competition to entertain the children on the aeroplane. And the first prize in the competition was the opportunity to visit the cockpit, which is the front area of the plane. And Jimmy won the competition. So very excitedly he went to the cockpit and he met the captain and the co-pilot, and he saw all these buttons and dials and gauges. It was very exciting. So he asked the captain, "Can I touch a button?" And the captain, who was American, replied, and excuse my bad American accent, "You can touch the red button, but you can't touch the green button." And Jimmy thought, you can touch the red button, but you can't touch the green button? Is he saying can or can't? But Jimmy didn't want to be annoying. He didn't want to ask too many questions, so he thought the green button must be safe. So he pressed the green button. And all of a sudden, the captain was ejected through the roof of the aeroplane and into the sky. And as he went up, he shouted back, "I told you, you can't touch the green button." And we never saw the captain again. Now, that wasn't a true story, of course, but it could have been true, couldn't it? The difference between can touch and can't touch, it's exactly the same. I'm pronouncing exactly the same, but there are different words in there. Now, in British English, it would be can touch and can't touch. The vowel sound is different in English. But that's not the only problem with this. Another problem is what we call connected speech. And that's when we join words together and we don't separate the two words. So can touch and can't touch becomes the same sound. And it's important to know about connected speech. Firstly, for your own speaking fluency, it will help you speak with more fluency. But more importantly, I would say for your listening comprehension. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Okay, let's do this. Good evening all, and thank you for joining me for another video. I just have to tell you one more quick anecdote. Some of you will know that I'm a runner. I like to run. And a couple of days ago, I was on my long run, a 2-hour run. And in the last half an hour, I was feeling very tired and I just wanted to get home and have a nice warm bath. So I thought I'll call my girlfriend and ask her to prepare me a bath. So I called her and I said, "Would you mind doing me a favor and preparing me a nice bath?" And she said, "Yes, okay, no problem. I'll prepare you a nice bath." So great. So I continued my run and I was just dreaming of this nice bath for when I got home. So I walked through the door and I went straight to the bathroom, to the bath. And what did I see? But the bathtub was full of ice. And I said to my girlfriend, "What happened? I asked you to prepare me a nice bath." And she said, "Yes, I prepared you a nice bath." I said, "No, but I asked you to prepare me a nice bath." And she said, "Yes, that is a nice bath." And we went on like that for about 20 minutes before we realized what was the mistake. Again, that didn't really happen. I just invented that. But it could have happened, couldn't it? Like Jimmy on the aeroplane, it's possible, right? Well, maybe, but that type of thing doesn't happen in English. And that's because listening comprehension isn't only about the sounds we make. It's also about the intonation and emphasis. So in the cockpit with the captain, he wouldn't have said you can touch this, but you can't touch this. He would have said you can touch this, but you can't touch this. He would have emphasized can't and not the verb for the negative, and he would have emphasized the verb touch for the positive. And for the bath, I would have said a nice bath if I want just a nice bath. But if I wanted an ice bath, I would have emphasized ice, because that's a little more strange, although many runners have ice baths after running. Another reason that this situation isn't usually problematic is that communication has a lot to do with body language. So in the cockpit, the captain would have probably shaken his head to say you can't touch this. Also, the third reason it doesn't happen is the context, the situation. It's pretty obvious. With the bath, you know, I've never had an ice bath in my life. So I've never had an ice bath in my life. So why would I suddenly want an ice bath? I wanted a nice bath. So the context is extremely important. But this is all about connected speech, and I'm going to give you some more examples of connected speech so you can see how we use it in English. So we often use connected speech when we have two consonant sounds, the same consonant sound in a sentence. So for example, what am I saying here? I like to go to the cinema. I like to go to the cinema. Am I saying that I like to go to the cinema now? Or am I saying that I liked to go to the cinema in the past? Well, it could be either when I say I like to go to the cinema, because the t of liked is joined with the t of to. So I liked to, I like to. But again, in the context, you would know, because that sentence was taken out of context. In a real situation, you would know if I'm talking about the present or the past. Another example, I could say with two consonants of the same sound, Amy is a bad dog. So we wouldn't say Amy is a bad dog. It's very difficult to stop and start with the same sound, bad dog. But this is where it gets interesting and curious, because Amy may be thinking in her mind, well, you are a bad man. Now here we have two different consonant sounds. You have bad, d, and man, m. But it's very difficult to stop and say bad man. So the d disappears. You say, you are a bad man. I think she probably does think that sometimes. Another example of where you have two different consonant sounds, but they become one. It's a form of glottalization. That's not an important word, that's very technical. That guy. That guy. So we don't say that guy. You can say that guy, but it's very difficult actually, because the t of that comes from the front of the mouth and the g of guy comes from the back of the mouth. So it's very difficult to quickly go from the front to the back of the mouth. So that guy is unnatural. So you would say that guy, the T disappears. So as you can see, with connected speech, often sounds disappear from the speech. But curiously, sometimes we add sounds in connected speech. So, for example, can't you help? Can't you help? There's an extra sound there, the ch sound between the can't and you. There is no ch in can't and there is no ch in you, but we add it to link the words together. So, can't you help? Another example of that is when we add an R sound or a R sound, R, which is very common. For example, there is a cat. There is a cat. There is, neither there nor is have the R sound, but we add that to link those two words. So there is a cat. There is a cat. We also tend to use connected speech or linking words with consonants and vowels. So listen to this example. I worked as a barman. I worked as a barman. So I work as a barman. As a bar. So the worked, the t of worked joins with as, the z of as joins with a, and the a joins with b of barman. So I worked as a barman. So when you're trying to understand English, it's important to know that we do this, so you prepare your ear, that you're not expecting to hear the words separately. I worked as a barman. Nobody speaks like that. It's much more natural to say, I worked as a barman. So as I said, this can help you with your spoken fluency, but that should happen quite naturally. The more you speak, you'll just find that it happens naturally, that you'll join words together, because it's easier to speak that way than to separate the words. But as I said, more importantly, it will help with your listening comprehension. because when you understand that we don't pronounce each word individually, it will help you to understand the whole sentence rather than listening for specific words or sounds. And of course, it will prevent you from having any problems like little Jimmy ejecting a captain through the cockpit roof. Okay, so thank you for joining me again. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Take care, bye.